Hello and welcome back to Typical City. Phil Foden versus Bukayo Saka. That age-old debate rages on once again because both players found the back of the net during their weekend games. Bukayo Saka scoring against Liverpool and Phil Foden just a little old hat-trick for Phil. Little Felipe getting himself another hat-trick in Manchester City's colours. The second hat-trick, mind you, the other being against Manchester United in a 6-3 romping of Manchester United. Of course, we can't forget that. Haaland got a hat-trick in that game as well, but just to remind you. But that debate is raged on for some time now, and I've never really understood it in truth, because I do think it's fairly one-sided. A lot of people say, well, you need the eye test. Other people say, oh, the statistics are very much on the side of one particular player. I think both are very much on the side of one player, because in terms of the eye test, you only need to look at these heat maps that I'll pop on your screen right now. These are from this season alone, but you can see straight away from Phil Foden's heat map the versatility that we're talking about here. Asked to play centrally, it does tend to drift more to one side, but ultimately there's a real open-endedness to the positions that he can play. The level of versatility, he's malleable, mate. He can absolutely do anything you want on that football pitch. And this isn't just, oh, he can play anywhere. He's playing anywhere for Pep Guardiola. The greatest manager of all time is trusting this lad to play in so many positions, from right wing to left wing, central midfield, attacking midfield, centre forward. He's even got minutes as a defensive midfielder, playing as a deep-lying playmaker all over the pitch. Now you flip that, have a look at Bukayo Saka's heat map. He's a one-dimensional player. He's a one-trick pony. He can play down that right wing. That's his game. And he's very good at it. Let's make no mistake, both these players are absolutely class. But one is substantially better than the other, in my opinion. And obviously people will say, oh, you're going to say that. You're a Manchester City fan. You're biased. Well, yeah, the heat maps prove that Pep Guardiola is trusting him more than Mikel Arteta is trusting Bukayo Saka to drift inside. And one is much better manager than the other, and one player is much better than the other. But in terms of the statistics, again, they are a damning read for Bukayo Saka. They really, really are. Phil Foden is a year older than Bukayo Saka, so age is definitely on Saka's side, because he's a year younger than the lad. But let me prove something to you. The minutes is what matters. How long are you on the football pitch? Doesn't matter how old you are. How long have you spent on that football pitch, running about on the grass? How much have you got under your belt? And it's a terrible read. It's a terrible read for Bukayo Saka versus Phil Foden. It's not a terrible read as an individual. He's a fantastic player, Bukayo Saka, don't get me wrong. But the whole comparison, it needs to be put to bed. And I'm here to do that. That's what we're doing today. We're putting it to bed because I'm sick of hearing about it, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of comparing players, in truth, because I do believe that players can often have specific roles for their certain clubs. The old debate of Alisson versus Ederson. Now, you ask any City fan, they're going to say Ederson, because I believe that if you go to the statistics, I think Alisson would probably beat, I've not done that, but Ederson would probably lose to Alisson statistically in traditional goalkeeping statistics, shot-stopping ability. I think Alisson's the best in the world as a shot stopper. But from an Ederson point of view, you're talking about distribution, how well suited he is to Manchester City. There's no keeper in the world that I would prefer to have than Ederson, because his distribution is vital to the way we play. He's impeccable to the way that we play, and so well suited to the way we play. He's a brilliant goalkeeper in terms of shot stopping, probably not quite to the same level as Alisson, but I do believe his distribution is perfect for what we have. And I think Alisson's got a mistake in his locker. I don't think his vision is quite as good as Ederson. His passing distribution, we saw the mistake at the weekend. I've only got to go rewind the clock a few days and go and look at the mistake he made at the Emirates. I don't see Ederson making those types of mistakes. Very rarely. Alisson makes these mistakes 2 or 3 times a season. He'll get more points than he'll save more points than he costs Liverpool, definitely over the course of the season. But so does Ederson. He's a brilliant goalkeeper. That's that goalkeeping debate, and that's why I think the whole player versus player. I think Bukayo Saka, Arsenal fans would say he's more suited to what they need, and he is more vital because City have better players. But that's another area of the debate is, well, Phil Foden's in a better team. Yeah, but hang on a minute. Yeah, bearing in mind that Kevin De Bruyne has been out for pretty much the majority of the season, Phil Foden has absolutely stepped up to the plate this season and filled that central midfield role And I was a bit concerned for his future, knowing that Kevin De Bruyne is coming back into the team. And we saw that on Monday night against Brentford. Kevin De Bruyne starts in midfield, and you think, well, Phil Foden's going to be pushed out wide, isn't he, again? And he's going to go back to that right wing role where he's not quite as effective, not his favourite position. Nope. Central midfield. And not just central midfield in attacking midfield. He gets himself a hat-trick from midfield. So this guy is going to levels that Bukayo Saka can only dream of. And let's have a look at the stats. Let's cut straight to the chase, straight into the meat of what we're here for, the statistics that really prove that Phil Foden is a much better player than Bukayo Saka. 151 appearances for Phil Foden, compare that to 157 appearances for Bukayo Saka. Those minutes, look at that. Look at the amount of time Phil Foden has spent playing Premier League football on the pitch. 8,628 minutes to Bukayo Saka's 12,426 minutes. That is a 3,798 minute difference. Do you want to know how many matches that is? 42.2 football matches. That is over a Premier League season of football that Bukayo Saka has played more than Phil Foden. 42 matches more than Phil Foden. 42 matches worth of minutes, at least, more than Phil Foden. And then factor that in, and then look at the rest of the stats. And it's like, wow. You think about that, wow. Goals. 43 goals, Phil Foden. He scored more goals, 4 more, in fact, to Bukayo Saka's 39 goals. Phil Foden hasn't scored a single penalty for Manchester City in the Premier League. Bukayo Saka's got 6. So, again, very easy to get your numbers up if you're the penalty taker. Whereas Phil Foden doesn't have that luxury. He does not take penalties for Manchester City. Bukayo Saka's got 6. He does beat him in the assist column, though. 8 more, in fact. 33 assists for Saka compared to Phil Foden's 25. So that's 1 point to Saka. I'm not doing a point system. I don't know why I gave him a point whatsoever, because it's the only point he's getting. So I just thought I'd give him one. Shooting accuracy, 60.5% from Phil Foden compared to 54.2% for Bukayo Saka. Passing accuracy, and in a Mikel Arteta side and a Pep Guardiola side, both demand a high level of ball retention. It has to be that level of like super quality, and ball retention is of the utmost importance with these two teams. Phil Foden wins again, 87.6% passing accuracy to Bukayo Saka's 81.6% passing accuracy. And I looked in the detail of that as well, because you can just sort of say, oh, it's just little 5-yard passes. No, Phil Foden's got more long balls and more accurate long balls. He's attempted more through balls, and he's succeeded with more through balls. So those passing accuracy people who go, oh, passing accuracy, oh, defenders can do that and just pass it 5 yards sideways. No, Phil Foden's destroying him in all the subcategories of passing as well. Your long balls, your through balls, all of the accuracy and the numbers destroy Bukayo Saka. And that's why he's trusted in the middle of the park, because he can do those things in the middle of the park where you can impose your danger onto an opposition's defence with those killer balls. Bukayo Saka doesn't have that vision. He doesn't. Dribbling success rate. Now, this is the average percentage over the course of all their Premier League seasons. I had to work that out myself because there is no stat out there. They do it per season, so I added them up and then divided it by the number of seasons that they've both participated in, of which Phil Foden's got 7 seasons to his name of statistics compared to Saka's 6 seasons of statistics. Which, again, it makes no difference really, but the average dribble success rate is monstrously different. Nearly 70%. And if you remove, because there was 100% in there for Phil Foden for his first season, and he only made 5 appearances in that first season in 2017 to 2018. If you remove that 100%, he's still got 65%. So if you make it season for season and remove a 100% season for Phil Foden, when he probably attempted 2 dribbles and completed both of them to get that 100%, if you remove that, it's still like 65%. So he's still massively better. And that's being a winger. Bukayo Saka's a winger, an out-and-out winger. And he's not as good as Phil Foden at being that dribbling winger. He's not as good. Phil Foden, he doesn't even want to do that, Phil Foden. He does that when he's asked to. He'd rather be in the middle of the park being more dangerous. It's bread and butter. It's night and day, black and white. It's clear as day. It really, really is. The number of times they've been dispossessed as well. There's your ball retention again. 123 times Phil Foden's been dispossessed to Saka's 205. And then, of course, I've got to throw that in. I don't believe in comparing trophies between players of who's the better player because of the number of trophies that they've got. I don't agree with that, because you look at Alan Shearer and the likes of Steven Gerrard and players that didn't grab that many trophies, but you can't call them bad players because they don't have trophies. It makes no sense. But let's do it anyway, because it's very funny and very much in the side of Manchester City. So let's have a look at that, shall we? 5 Premier League titles Phil Foden has to 0 for Bukayo Saka. And you can go beyond that, to be honest. You can go beyond that. Saka, let's have a look at all of their trophies, shall we? Because it's not fair just to do Premier League. Let's have a look at all their trophies. 1 FA Cup and 2 Community Shields. That's Saka. Right, we might have to fast forward this for Phil Foden and do one of those, like the end of adverts on the radio where they have to speed up the guy who's talking for all the terms and conditions at the end, because there's that much to say. You need to say it in such a short amount of time, and I don't want to be here all day, to be honest. I wanted to keep this video short and sweet, so I'm going to have to speed this up a little bit. You've got 5 Premier League titles, 4 League Cups, 2 FA Cups, 2 Community Shields, 1 Champions League, 1 UEFA Super Cup, and 1 FIFA Club World Cup. And that's for Phil Foden. Unbelievable. It is night and day. It's clear as clear can possibly be. There is no two ways about it that Phil Foden is miles above him. To the point where it's like, should we even be comparing them anymore? Because it's becoming unfair on Saka, because he's not given the license to go inside. Maybe if Arteta trusted him, but he doesn't. He doesn't trust him to do that. He could go inside, but he's not good enough. I don't think he would hold the ball well enough in midfield. He's an explosive winger. Phil Foden can do that. Yeah, but he's got other sides to his game. He's got other feathers in his cap. He's a bigger, more well-rounded footballer than Saka is. Hands down. It's not even close. To the point where we should be comparing Foden and Bellingham. That's the future. That's the future debate. And I think there's more meat in that debate, because Bellingham's got versatility. Can Bellingham play wide? Haven't really seen much of that. To be honest, probably could, in truth. But Bellingham's got goals, he's got defensive abilities. And one thing I wanted to highlight as well, just in Saka's favour, to prove that I'm not just cherry-picking stats out, but these are the main stats. Bukayo Saka's defensive stats are well better than Phil Foden's. A lot better than Phil Foden's. I have to add that in there just to be fair, but they're not on the pitch to defend. The defensive numbers are really, really low for both players, but Saka definitely beats Phil Foden in that regard, and I imagine Bellingham probably would as well. But that's the problem with these debates, is you can cherry pick certain statistics, but the statistics I've provided are what really matter for these two players in particular, in Saka and in Foden, in what their roles are on the pitch. These are the stats that matter at the end of the day, and it's done. I think that's the end of the debate. I really do. I think that's game done and dusted. Phil Foden wins hands down, but will he win a Premier League title? Number 6 Premier League title added to his trophy cabinet, or will Saka finally get himself a Premier League title? We'll have to wait to see at the end of the season. Get your comments in below. Who do you think is the better player? Who do you think is more likely to be realistically compared to Phil Foden now? Do you think Bellingham is versus Foden is the future? Get in the comments below. I want to hear your thoughts. Like and subscribe. Typical City is the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is Typical City now, holding on to